Too Deep Coco Queen writes, "This podcast is necessary for such a time as this. The affirmations guide us to a place of mindfulness and calm that can be hard to reach in this stressful world. Every episode is rich and filled with love. Achie, your vulnerability ushers us all to a place of radical truth and introspection. Thank you for this gift." Thank you, Coco Queen, for listening and for leaving such an amazing and honest review. I appreciate your kind words. Hi there, I'm Achie, speaker, coach, and entrepreneur. I'm also a wife and mom to the Seans, my brilliant hubby, Sean Sr., and my vivacious toddler, Sean Jr. I am a perpetual student to this thing called life, and boy, has life taught me some lessons. What I absolutely love is helping you to identify and debunk the limiting beliefs that cause you to hide from your awesomeness. It's time to reprogram your thinking. So settle in, get comfy, and let's girl talk. Just you and me. This is the I Am Achie podcast. A few weeks ago, I was watching season 4 of The Crown, which comes on Netflix and just narrates the life and the many events and stories surrounding the royal family in Great Britain. And it's really interesting. I'm on season 4. Obviously, I enjoy the show. It's a really good show. It's really, really well written, put together. Like it's a really good show. If you're into the royal family or not, it's really a good show. And in one of the episodes, oh my gosh. Okay, so it was 3 women at the table. It was Queen Elizabeth, it was Princess Margaret, her sister, and then it was Queen Mother, the Queen Elizabeth and Princess Margaret's mom. And they were talking about Princess Diana. And if you're not familiar, Princess Diana was Queen Elizabeth's daughter-in-law. She was Prince Charles's first wife. And they had 2 boys, which are Prince Harry and Prince William. And those are the young men that are still living today. Anyhow, she died back in, I believe it was 1997. And the story around this particular season brings her into play and just how her relationship with Prince Charles developed, began everything, all the ups and downs, the ebbs and flows, like the good and the bad. It talked about it all. And they were sitting at the table, these 3 ladies, and they were talking about the pressures of being in the royal family, being a member of the royal family, and how Diana, she was like a free spirit. She was a sunflower. She just wanted to do what she wanted to do, just in not an outrageous way, but she just wanted to live her life. She was a regular young girl. She wasn't, raised royal and with all the protocols. And so she just really wanted to be free and be who she was. And so she had a really tough time succumbing to everything they wanted her to be. And so Queen Mother, which is Queen Elizabeth's mother, they call her Queen Mother, she made a comment and said, because Queen Elizabeth was not complaining, but discussing how Princess Diana wasn't really fitting the mold. Like the public loved her, but the royal family thought that she wasn't completely, fitting the role of a princess, how a princess should be and act in their opinion. And I'm like doing air quotes all over the place here. I know you can't see me. And so Queen Mother says, oh, well, it'll be fine. She'll bend. She'll eventually bend, just like your husband did. And the husband she was referring to is Prince Philip, which is Queen Elizabeth's husband. He was also a wild child. He was a rebel. He broke all the protocols, but eventually he bent to how they wanted him to bend. So she was telling Queen Elizabeth, Princess Diana will eventually bend like your husband did. And Queen Elizabeth's question was, well, what if she doesn't bend? And then her sister, Princess Margaret, says, well, then she'll break. And oh my gosh, I had chill bumps all over my body because Princess Margaret was also another rebel of the family that didn't fit the molding of what they thought she should be and how she should act and the people she should hang around and the activities she should participate in. And so she understood what it looks like being in that type of family under that type of pressure and that type of scrutiny, how if you don't bend, it will break you. And I just thought about how many of us live under the expectations of others, be it our families, society, our religion, like whatever it is, our jobs. And I'm not going to say just unrealistic expectations, because some of these may be realistic expectations, but they're still external expectations. And when I was listening to this show and I heard them say, if she doesn't bend, she'll break, I'm like, man, they left out something. Like, they didn't even give her a third option. They said she'd bend or she'd break. How about if she just is? So bend, break, or be. They didn't even give that option. They didn't leave room for that. It's either you bend or you break. She wasn't allowed to be. And if you know the story of Princess Diana, I mean, the marriage ended and she ended up dying in a car accident, but they didn't allow her to be because of these protocols and expectations and rituals and routines and traditions that were passed down thousands and thousands of years. And it broke my heart because in other parts of this season and previous seasons, just listening to them and watching them express how they have given up or they had to give up parts of their personality, or some of them their whole personality, and their own desires and their own dreams and aspirations. They've given those up for the call of duty, as they would call it. And it broke my heart because I said, man, how many people and how many women are living under this pressure now? You don't have to be a part of a monarchy. You don't have to be, in the UK, which I know some of my listeners are there. So I know you guys understand this more than anyone else. But how many of us are trying to bend on the verge of breaking because we have this pressure on us and because these expectations are breaking us down. And even we only believe that we have two options: to bend and conform, or to completely break and go crazy. How many of us are living that way? And I just wanted to come on the podcast really quickly today to let you know that you have a third option, and you can just be. You're allowed to be. You don't have to bend and you don't have to break. You can be exactly who you are, or exactly who you would like to be, on your own terms, without the external expectations of others. No one said you have to succumb to that. You don't. If no one's told you that, I'm here to tell you, you don't have to do that. You can be bold and brave and alive and exactly who you are. And the only reason why we feel like we have to bend and eventually break is because we've lost our voice for some reason. It could have been when we were a child, could have been when we were in a particular relationship with someone, maybe because of habits and behaviors that we observed from others in our lives that we deemed as okay, or maybe we were taught or shown was okay or normal or acceptable, what society accepts as normal or as the status quo. And sometimes we try so hard to fit into that, and we are miserable. It's breaking us. It is breaking us. And the thing about it is that it's sending us to extreme levels of depression and extreme levels of anxiety and hurt and pain. And when you look at that series, you see that in those people. And I say those people because that's what they are. They're people. Yes, they're royal, but they're people. They're royal according to their country. That's how their country views them. But they're people, right? And they're miserable. And you see depression and anxiety, and you see mental health breakdown. You see all of that because they have been told and expected to bend to such a point that they will eventually break. But where does that leave us? Where does that leave us? Where does that leave you as a person who has so much inside of you that you ignore your entire life? Where does that leave you? Where does that leave if you have children or someone who's watching and observing you? Where does that leave them? What is that teaching them? I'll tell you what I think it's teaching. I think it's teaching that who you inherently are and what you carry around with you deep on the inside of you is not enough. And I'm here to tell you that that is not true. You are allowed to be. You are allowed to be. No matter what you've been told, no matter what you've seen, you are allowed to be. And you are not supposed to bend and break to other people's expectations. If that's what you're supposed to do, then if you have done that, or if you're doing that right now, there would be no place of frustration, of irritation, of anxiety, of anger, of resentment, of jealousy, of envy. There would be none of that. But whenever you see a person that is bending and breaking to someone else's expectations, right next to it, you will see some sort of emotional and mental, even spiritual breakdown. That is your proof. People who are bending and breaking to other people's expectations are not happy. They aren't. They are not happy. They are not excited about life. They're not excited about their duties. And what good are duties if you're miserable doing them? What good is it? The duty is instantly diminished if you hate it. And I know this may go against what a lot of us have been taught just growing up, but it's okay. Like I say all the time, what was true back then for you may not be true for you now. And identifying that that's no longer true for you, and identifying maybe the reason why I am so angry and so upset and so frustrated is because I've been told I should fit into this. Because I am a woman, I should be doing this. Because I am a wife, I should be doing this. Because I am a mom, I should be doing this. But what about if I don't want to do any of that and I want to do this instead? And the instead that you want to do is what actually brings you joy. But the other things that you're supposed to do, the duty of what you're supposed to be doing and how you're supposed to be living, that brings you extreme unhappiness. Do we just live that way in hopes that when we eventually die, then we'll experience some sort of bliss? So we live miserable here now? I'm going to tell you, there was a time where I used to believe that. I no longer believe that. I believe that it's okay for me to be, to simply be who I am right now in this moment with my time here on earth. It is okay. It is okay for me to have and experience joy today. I don't have to wait until I die. Yes, I can experience joy and bliss, whatever you believe happens to you after you leave this earth, but I don't believe I was put here to suffer and be miserable and be stuck inside of my emotions and to be stuck inside of negative emotions and actions. I don't think that's what I'm supposed to be doing for the sake and the call of what society, religion, or my family tells me I should be doing. Time out for that. Time out for that. It has not worked. It has not worked. And until we get bold enough and real enough with ourselves to say, today is the day that I stop bending and conforming. Today is the day where I will not allow myself to break, but today is the day that I will be fully who I am, how I see fit, what works best for me. Because when you are doing the best for you with what works for you and your personality and your makeup, then you can be good to those around you. Then you can show up fully for those around you. But if you are miserable, you are going to make the people around you miserable as well. So that's all I have for you today, guys. I was watching the episode. I'm like, oh my God, I've got to talk to the people today. To tell them we have got to stop bending, and we certainly have to stop breaking for others' expectations, and we just have to be okay with being. Just be. I say that all the time. Be, not do. Be who you are and be okay with that. If my content is inspiring or helpful in some way and you'd like to support my work, I'll always say yes to a cup of coffee. The link will be in the show notes. Remember that I love you, I see you, and I want you to win. Bye for now. I know firsthand how challenging this personal development journey can be. It can feel lonely, confusing, overwhelming, and even difficult to know exactly where to start. That is why I created an amazing resource for you. Go to imachie.com to download a free audio training that discusses the top 2 things you should focus on as you begin or continue your journey to shifting your mindset. Yep, only 2 things. I like to keep it simple and actionable. Again, that's imachie.com. And also, if you enjoyed today's episode, I have a favor to ask of you. My goal is to get this podcast in front of as many women as possible. The things I discuss are the things I wish someone would have told me when I began this journey. So in order to do that, please take a few seconds to share this episode with a friend and leave a 5-star review. Don't forget to subscribe so you can get notified when I release new episodes. I love you, I see you, and I'm rooting for you. Bye for now.